can't decide whether I'm for or against 0-hour contracts being banned. I've been on them for so long now, I don't know whether it's just because I'm brainwashed to them, but there is something about the flexibility that's good. Sometimes when I do get full-time employment, it feels a bit enclosing. Your time really isn't your own, whereas with a 0 hours contract, you're not obliged to even accept the work, and neither is the employer obliged to give you work. I think one thing that really pisses people off with 0 hours, and it's happened to me not that many times, but I've seen it happen to a lot of people, is you turn up to work and then they say, there's no work today and fuck off, you're not getting paid. That needs to change. So to me, proper planning prevents piss poor performance, as a good friend of mine always says. And it really should be the manager's burden, if they call people in and they're not needed, that the cost is still there, that you get paid for a full day's work. That is something that I think could be a lot easier to implement instead of simply banning 0 hours contracts. It might make employment a lot more difficult because more employers would be reluctant to set someone on knowing they have to guarantee a certain amount of hours. But definitely there should be more sanctions and definitely more rights as well. I mean, I think you could keep 0 hour contracts and have more employment rights, the same employment rights as somebody who's employed. Like, I agree with the day one rights that Labour are talking about, but I personally don't think that banning 0 hour contracts completely is a good idea, because of the flexibility it gives the worker. There is something to the flexibility, but yeah, the exploitation of workers needs to be addressed at the same time. What do you think? Anyway, I'm just sort of throwing the question out there and my personal point of view on it. So I think that there's a middle road here, to be honest, where you could still keep 0 hour contracts, but you could increase rights and you could impose sanctions on employers, that there'd be tougher restrictions that would make them think twice before sending people home.